Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good to have you all here for the first episode of Dynex Tech Talk, a new monthly series where we will be discussing technical developments on both the enterprise and the blockchain side of things. I'm your host today. My name is Davey, and I'm the Global Head of Support at Dynex. Today, I'm joined by Clifford, mostly known as Yeti, who is our Global Head of Ecosystem Development and Information Security, as well as Ivan, who is our Global Head of Platform Development. In this first episode, Clifford and Ivan will be presenting you a number of topics during the Tech Talk, and later on we will be having a short AMA segment where any questions you may have will be answered by either one of us three. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the live YouTube chat, and if you want someone in particular to answer your question, please mention that as well. We will get back to those questions later in the episode. We're aiming for a stream duration of approximately 45 minutes, so sit back, relax, and without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Clifford and Ivan.
How you doing, Davey? Thank you very much. Obviously, welcome to Ivan as well. I believe this is the first time as well that both you and Ivan have been on camera, right? So we'll try and make this as easy as possible for you guys. Okay, but like I say, we're here to give you guys a bit of an update on how developments are going, and let's have a look at what's on the agenda. But I believe that the first piece on the agenda is Ivan. So do you want to take over, Ivan?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, community. Yes, the first one and one of the most important, it's our new corporate website. So we, a software development team, working together with a leadership team and business development team on our product improvement. So we are gathering a lot of feedback of our customers, what we can improve, how we can improve, and yes, we are focused on enterprise side of Dynex right now. So we are changing the layout, changing the structure of marketplace website, adding more enterprise features, which our customers are eagerly requesting. So yes, we are want to release it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depends on like how many features we want to add before the actual release. And I hope you will be happy to see results of our work.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you're well on your way already to having most of that already done. So kudos to the team. Obviously, I guess the big one that we should really address is the one that obviously was announced coming soon for the dev call, which is our new Fiat on-ramp and subscription model. I think that's probably the best place to start. So let me just share my screen. So obviously, I need to switch over to the other photo. Do apologize about all my notifications going off. I'll sort that out in a second. So the new subscription-based modeling. Now, obviously, this is still in the works. It's not quite finished just yet, but we're very much happy to announce that a Fiat on-ramp is pretty close to being ready for deployment now. We're just putting the finishing touches on this. And yeah, let me just open this, and then I can show you guys what we're talking about. So, welcome to, I might actually have to do this. There we go. So, our new Dynex subscription model. The idea being is that obviously you can block book is for the better term, block book an entire set of our quantum gateways and allow obviously the enterprise level users and people that might actually want to use it on a more frequent basis, the ability to dedicate the resources, shall we call it, of their price plan. Now, we're not going to officially release the prices yet, mainly because we're still making sure they're where we want them to be. But the best way to think of this is that in a corporate environment, this is probably the best way to attract the biggest businesses. They're not going to want to pay per job. Although we're not getting rid of our pay-as-you-compute module, that's still going to be freely available to everyone. But fundamentally, for us to attract the kind of business customers we're after, dedicated resources is where realistically they're going to want to be. So you can see here that we got 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 and 1 million. Obviously, those would scale price-wise accordingly. So obviously, 1,000 is going to be less than 1 million, for example. But this is going to be a way for our enterprise level customers to onboard in a more enterprise level way that they're familiar with. So hopefully I've answered a few questions on that one, but I'm sure there'll be some more questions. Don't worry, we will get around to answering all of the questions around how our subscription models are going to work, plus what obviously the pricing model will be. Now, if I remember rightly, the next part up on the agenda, and I guess I'll happily cover this one, Ivan, is that we're going to unify. We're going to unify our Block Explorer and our marketplace to be one singular place to go. The idea and concept behind that is that we want to focus on being able to split the way that the crypto and the enterprise level customers will see the data, but while never removing any data that is, open and transparent from us. The number of jobs being run, how much compute's being used at any one time. All of those things will be available to both sides of the equation. Just that there are certain things that are going to be needed for enterprise customers to see. And then there's also going to be things that are needed from the crypto side to see. So the idea is that basically we can further define the routes for which side that you're on. So, if it's a case that an enterprise customer wants to see the crypto side, then absolutely, that's fine. But majority of our enterprise customers are more than likely going to be coming via different methodologies. And that to us is why, we're splitting it out so that it can actually make life a little easier for us to direct our clientele, no matter which side of the equation they come from. And that's probably, just one part of the optimization. We're also going to be further refining our RPC nodes. Ivan and his team have done a fantastic job of this quite recently, and it looks exceptionally promising. Now, I know that Ivan will cover this off in our next bit in a second, but literally the RPC nodes upgraded to be much more, resilient. That is one good step in the right direction. So that leads me quite nicely onto over what you want to now cover, Ivan, which I believe.
Yes. So the next important thing is minor versions upgrade. Yes, we notified you 1 month ago, and we are doing it from time to time. So miners, please keep your miners updated, because latest versions are really great. they came with a huge improvements in performance and computation accuracy. So please upgrade them. Older versions will be deprecated. So the update will happen on the 10th of May. So yes, it's really important because like our computations are going to be better and better.
I was just about to say, actually,
customers,
I was just about to say, actually, do you want to go over some of the benefits of the new version over the previous version?
of miners, you mean?
Sure.
Yes. So basically, we improved the storage of snapshots. So now when you are restarting your miner, you're basically not starting from the not from the beginning. You're starting from some checkpoint. So the job that your GPUs are running is evaluating, and it can evaluate for like, I don't know, 1 year. Yes, with all uptime you have, you will also calculate and you will reach the final destination more efficient, like dramatically efficient.
Sounds like it certainly sounds like the miners have come on quite a long way in recent months then.
Well, yes, like when we integrated this feature, we saw like some changes in our data, in our computations, that they become like more better than before. So we put along with minor devs, we put much effort in it, and it instantly rewarded us.
No, that's really good news. That's really good news from an overall perspective, right? From the ecosystem to from every end, having more accuracy for us is super important, right? So, right. So, okay. So the next part on the agenda would be one key. Now, we know that obviously one key has already started shipping some units to users. We've obviously been trying to make sure that one key deliver their firmware so that Dynex is supported. And obviously myself and Ivan actually have been working very closely to make sure that we get that delivered. Now, I believe it's still on track for the end of the month, I believe, Ivan, if that's correct. I believe that's what we were told.
Yes, it's correct. We are working together with them. Like if they have any problems, so we instantly respond, trying to make this process faster and faster.
Sure.
So in case of any challenges, we will announce like transparently.
Yep.
But I hope that we won't have any troubles with that.
No, that's
given
that's really
the amount of work that we made together with 1K team. Like it's.
Yeah, no. Obviously, since I joined, one of my biggest roles right at this second is to make sure that we get everything that was already outstanding starting to get moving forward at a relatively quicker pace. One of those on the list was obviously one key. So we're both me and Ivan have sort of took it upon ourselves to go make sure that that is, handled correctly. Make sure that we give them the assistance when they need us. And, that leads me on to Tangent as well, right? So at the moment, we have no new news for anyone around Tangent other than that we obviously saw that they delayed us slightly to later on in the year. But again, if those guys need our help, we'll make ourselves available and they'll get the same level of service as one key has got, where we'll be happy to work with them to deliver what we promised, which is a dual hardware wallet option, either one key or Tangent. We would like both. Personally, I haven't used one key personally, but now that they're ready to go to market with a Dynex option, now I'll go and order one. But I've already got some Tangent wallets, so of course I'm very keen on seeing that part as well. So yeah, I mean, it's great news that we're progressing with the one keys. And then, Ivan, did you want to go over the last big bit of news before we start, covering off other few bits? There's, I believe this one's probably the big part as well.
Yes. So Dynex is in process of being listed on Depin Scan. What is Depin Scan? It's the most famous place where crypto users can check Depin projects, and Dynex is part of Depin, like great part of Depin, and yes, you can check our coin right now on Depin Scan, but also we are working together with IoTex team. They are developing Depin Scan on device integration map, like you can see on live.dynexcoin.org, like on marketplace, and this map will be integrated into Depin Scan, actually. Yes, also we will together with Depin Scan are planning joint marketing activities, so stay tuned. And
I was going to say, do we currently have do we have a current ETA on Depin Scan, or are we still we're not sure on exact dates yet?
It is listed already.
No, for like when we get all of what we wanted to integrate with them. I mean,
I hope like it's 1 week from now. Okay. Like I think it will be even earlier, but yes, I don't see any problems because we gathered the same data.
Yes.
Before, so we just need to ship it to them, but we are thinking how to make it like in a more decentralized way to make this data proofable.
Yep.
Right. So
no, that's great news to hear that it's that far already. Obviously we don't know what integrations are going to be like with other companies, right? We have no idea on how easy or how difficult those type of integrations will be until we start doing it. So what it sounds like is that Depin Scan is not too difficult to integrate us with and send all of our data into their system as well, right?
Yes, so we are looking into other opportunities, what we can add more, how can we customize our Depin Scan Dynex page.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess will that include all of our POUW metrics? Is that the overall goal that we're heading towards, that we want to send all of those type of data to them?
I'm not sure if we can put all the data that we have, but we as developing team will try to do our best to show as much data as we can.
Yep.
Actually.
Yep, that makes sense. Now, obviously, before we head off to an AMA for 10 minutes, I just want to go back over the big bit of news, right? So let's just cover that again and make sure that everyone's fully happy with what we're talking about, right? Just in case they joined late or anything like that. So obviously the big news for today is that we are ready for our Fiat on-ramp. Not only will this help from our business aspect, from a miner's perspective, this should make block rewards more reliable, more consistent. It's something that we've all, and me and Ivan have talked about this a number of times, and so have the team, is that we want to build a more predictable model for how much our compute is going to earn you as a miner on our network. Because at the moment we're running all pay as you compute, there are times where obviously there's no one computing right at that second. So we've noticed that sometimes the blocks are bigger, sometimes they're normal size, but fundamentally we're trying to reset how all of our metrics are run. So we would like to get it so that it's a consistent block reward from our emissions plus POUW. And obviously the idea is, as our emission curve goes down, our obviously compute fee, rewards and everything like that go up to balance out the equation. So, I mean, realistically, me, the whole team don't have a worry that this is going to work. Logically, back end wise, it all works fantastically. We've already got the ability to select the number of chips or quantum gates that people are going to be using. But again, having those as dedicated resources is very different to having to share them and wait in the queue if it gets too busy. For some customers, that might be too much. They need those instant results right there and then. So opening up a Fiat on-ramp should do the job. And the idea is that money comes in via Fiat, goes into the marketplace. The marketplace will automatically connect out to a number of exchanges, grab the best price, convert that into Dynex, drop that into the marketplace's user's account. All hands off, that kind of thing, all good. Every month, obviously, we might have to bulk purchase. We're still refining out some of these methods as well, because they've all got to be factored in for security, getting the best price. Can we get the number of volume that somebody is requesting? There's a number of challenges that we still got to just tick off, but the subscription system is currently, as you can see on that picture, is in test mode. And I would say that probably by our next dev call, this should be up and running and more open to talk about the pricing and how it's all going to work, because we'll be more in the know ourselves. So now, obviously, Ivan, I don't know if you've got any final thoughts on the subscription model, because I know that, you played a big part in figuring the logistics out for the subscription model. So is there anything you'd like to add to how this is going to work?
Yes, actually, now we are testing subscription model in private beta. It works extremely well, and it's easier to customer, for us, and easier for the miners.
Yep.
Because it's predictable.
Yeah, that consistent,
right? One of the
reward
was predictability.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
yes,
totally agree.
Major part of the code was written, and now we are testing, adjusting, refining, trying to add more reports to our customers. Yes, because we are targeting enterprise customers, and they want to get information for their taxes, for their budgets, right?
Yep.
So subscription model is awesome and helps everyone here. And we in Dynex believe that it's our marketplace game-changing solution.
Yep.
We put a lot of effort in it. As usually, to make something to program itself, it's really easy to program, but first you need to get some initial thoughts, and then you need to evaluate, and it's a lot of time and a lot of human resources and brain resources. So it's resources consuming task, and I'm pretty happy how we progress with it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how you guys have been doing this. It was quite refreshing to get a sort of note from everyone to say we're already in beta mode. We're testing it now. It's all looking everything we want it to be. That's great. I couldn't be any more happier in that regards, because that's that one thing that we talked about, right? That to onboard certain levels of enterprise level customers, they're not going to want to pay per job. They're going to want those dedicated resources. They'll ask for that straight away. That is going to be almost a given. So us being able to provide that, I think it's the best of both worlds, right? We still have pay as you compute to make that accessible for anyone who wants to try Dynex, right? We're not getting rid of that. We're going to keep that very much open, but for our enterprise customers, there is now an option to be able to dedicate those resources, and I think it's the best of both worlds. So, and I think that is pretty much it for the dev call. Davey, I'm going to bring you back in. And then obviously we're going to open up the floor for some AMA.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. So yeah, just to kick off with the AMA, actually the first question I want to ask, because as you know, there are a lot of people in our community wondering about this. What's cooking with the exchange listings? Is there anything you can share with us in that regard?
Shall I take that one, Ivan?
Yeah.
Okay, so exchanges are ongoing. I've had numerous meetings over the last few weeks with people at exchanges to try and source some timeframes, if we can actually even legally say those timeframes, because there are contracts involved and NDAs and all that kind of thing, and obviously that plays a big role in what we can say legally. But I would say right now the one that I would say is that we are actively working on it. It's not like we're just putting it to one side and ignoring it. We very much are aware that our users, especially our US users, are screaming for an exchange that they can actually go on to and buy their Dynex. So we are very much actively trying to help where we can. If we can provide technical support to them to integrate to us, we will. It's not like we're just going to push them to one side. Oh, they're going to list us, but it's a case of whenever. It's not, especially not for me anyway. I try and keep in contact with as many of the exchanges as I can get my, contacts to, and hopefully with the increased level of communication, sooner rather than later, we will be able to say a bit more. But right now, we can't really say much more at the moment.
Cool. Thank you for elaborating on that topic. Then the next question I received from a community member is a bit more technical. It's about the neuromorphic quantum gates, and he was wondering if those are basically a representation of the Dynex chips, or what are they? If either one of you could elaborate a bit on that.
Ivan, do you want to take that one?
Yes. So actually, as we are in quantum computing platform, right, we need to speak on. So we need to speak in terms of quantum computing. So quantum gates, also known as classes, right? So generally speaking, it's like number of lines in your job file. So the bigger your job file, the bigger classes you have. So, or quantum gates. So our subscription will be partially rely on maximum number of quantum gates that you can run concurrently.
Perfect. But they're not the same as Dynex chips, so to speak. That's a whole different aspect.
Yes, the Dynex chips, it's number of reads, like to be exact.
Cool. So going forward on the subscription model, a community member asked how easy it will be for enterprise clients to use the Fiat on-ramp in terms of the subscription model, like what cards or banks or global regions are supported.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. At the moment, it is going to be a case that we're currently utilizing Stripe, which will accept all major cards, debit and credit. I believe Stripe is also looking at crypto payments down the road. So if they haven't already, we might be able to also use those as a bridge to take in other crypto payments as well as for the compute. But realistically, for the enterprise customers, the Fiat itself is going to be the only thing they're really going to be using, right? The other options are nice, but realistically, they're going to be paying in cash. And it's a fairly simple system. Stripe is used globally around the world. It's not a small processor. It's a fairly large one. And because of that, it comes with certain level of covers, protections, all verified with the countries that they're allowed in. And yeah, so I would say out of all the ones that we could have chose, Stripe's right up there with the very best. So as for how easy it'll be, a couple of clicks of a button, fill in some details, hit subscribe. It's pretty much that simple with Stripe.
And for the miners in our community and other community members who might be a bit worried about this, it is the case that the fiat currency the enterprises pay will still be converted to Dynex, as Dynex is the compute currency, right? That won't change in that regard.
Yes, no. Exactly.
that won't change at all.
Cool. Let me see. Then another, perhaps a bit technical question. Sumi mentioned something about Dynex Solve X a couple of months ago. Is there anything you could share in that regard, or is that a bit too soon, or what's cooking there?
Do you want to take this one, Ivan, or shall I?
Yes, like we are evaluating it. We are actively working on it. We are choosing from options that we have, actually best options. So it's continuous process, and for now, I don't want to share anything really specific because every day things are changing. So tomorrow we will evaluate something new, something dramatically new, and for now it's a little bit yes, we are working on it.
Cool. More on that later. Then a question for you, Yadi, is about the mobile wallet applications. Is there any progress in that regard you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're talking about the one that obviously myself and Sam were actively working on, right? Yeah. So we are at a process now where we're testing the non-privacy aspects of it, because we built that originally when we were still a privacy chain. So we've had to obviously turn all those functions off and adjust all the code. We're in our final testing phase now, and then it's just a little bit of beta testing for the new functionalities. And then we can start rolling out the new mobile wallets effectively. The crazy part is that it will effectively be hosted, so like a custodial wallet, but none of the keys are stored on our systems ever. Even the 2FA isn't. The 2FA is stored locally on your device, using a quite crazy concept to how to do it. But the keys and everything for those wallets exist only on that device. So it will give that extra layer of security. If somebody still wants a custodial web wallet, then we can still run that potentially, but we would very much like to eventually deprecate the old web wallet, bring it over to the new style web wallet where you control all your keys. We don't control a thing at that point, and give you guys that extra layer of security for the web wallet as well, at the same time as being able to cross compile those for iOS and Android natively, which would be, a nice addition to the already existing portfolio of wallets that we're going to have available to us.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a super healthy development. And from what I've seen, a lot of community members are eagerly awaiting this mobile wallet application, let's say.
Yeah.
To continue, I had another question about the mining side of things, more specifically about potential new miner devs adding support for Dynex. Is there anything you could share with us regarding that?
Shall I take that one, Ivan? Seeing as
you can answer.
Yeah. So I've reached out to a few miner devs. I'm actually fortunate to know a few. and asked them to, because when most of them looked at evaluating us as a mining option, obviously Dynex was in a state of flux, like continuously, right? Every other day there was new tweaks that had to be made. Now, not so many changes overall, right? Which is it makes it a little bit more attractive to those minor devs to have a go at integrating Dynex. So I've reached out to a few. I won't say names because I don't want to put them under pressure to decide whether or not to do this. But I've asked if they would at least reassess their situation and their stance on whether or not to add Dynex. So there is nobody currently that we want to announce just yet, but I have reached out to a number of them to see if they would at least consider it again.
And it is a lot of work compared to, let's say, your more simple mining algorithms are, right, to implement.
There's a lot more to take into regard because of the computational side, right? So, and that depends on if they've got that level of expertise to integrate that kind of thing, right? They might not. They might only focus solely on the existing algorithms that have been out for years that there's plenty of documentation on. While there's a lot of documentation on Dynex, there's only so much material or people that they can go and speak to right now to give them extra assistance. Now, if a minor dev's listening and they would like to, then please reach out to us, either myself or Ivan, and we would be glad to lend a hand if it means that we can onboard another minor dev into the Dynex ecosystem. I would wholeheartedly, happily go and help where I can. And I'm sure Ivan would say the same thing.
Yes, we have really great standards in cooperation with other teams, with other projects. So our resources are their resources. So we are trying to be 24 hours per day available, always helping them, because we are in the same community. We are in crypto and we are working together on the better future. Yes, and Depin is also really important. So that's why we are always happy to cooperate and speak with other teams. Those days in Dubai, I attended in a lot of conferences, as well as Davey and Cliff. So we spoke with a lot of other Depin projects, and yes, it's a great field to play together.
Yeah, I mean, Dubai was, considering all the flood and the chaos from traffic and having to go halfway around Dubai just to get to one place. I mean, we spoke to a lot of people at that event, and obviously at our dinner and dine, we got around to a lot of talking to a lot of people, and it was all positive, right? We spoke to some other Depin projects. We spoke to some, OTC guys. We spoke to quite a few, and we even bumped into a community member, Luca, at the show. He actually came and found us. So much so that we couldn't not invite him at that point, right? He'd already come and found us, so we brought him up to the dinner. He had an absolute blast. I had an absolute blast getting to know him as well. He's a lovely guy, really genuinely nice guy. And yeah, I mean, I think given all the circumstances, I don't think there is much more we could have done in Dubai personally. I think we did very well to be able to do the meetings we actually got under our belt. So, David, did you want to add anything about Dubai? Because obviously,
I couldn't agree more with what you just said. I mean, given the circumstances, I think we did pretty well. And I mean, yeah, if the circumstances would have been better, then of course we would have done better as well. But yeah, it was just very unfortunate timing for everyone there.
I mean, right?
I think we made the best of it.
Go to Dubai, they say. It's hot and sunny
would be
there.
Fun, they say.
And then it, rains 2 years in one day. I mean, you couldn't really.
Tough luck.
Completely out of our control and one of those unlucky events. But like I say, the people that we did get to meet were genuinely impressed with what we were doing. I mean, I answered more questions than I ever thought I would be answering on that kind of technical level, to be fair, which was good. That's healthy, right? That means that people want to have an understanding around what we're doing. But yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
warm, very, very warm. Very, very warm.
Let's see. So I had another question, which is more about the our own business side of things. Like someone is wondering, because the 20% compute fee Dynex gets paid from like all of the compute, obviously just isn't enough to like compensate all the employees Dynex currently has enrolled. So he was wondering, like, how do we do it? How do the founders like finance Dynex?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably more my question than Ivan's, for example, right? So, so our two founders have obviously they're in a very fortunate position that they've worked hard in their lives, earned very good money in their lives, and are firmly believing in what we're doing. We're pretty much self-funded, I would say, at least for the next 12 months, really reasonably, if not longer. Both the founders have never wavered on their commitment ever. The two founders have legitimately, well, for want of a term, put their money where their mouth is, right? They're funding it because they understand that it's going to take time to onboard those enterprise level customers. Now, I was off with Charles, our business guy, last night, talking to more, interested parties and some from the automotive industry. That was really, really quite an interesting call. Woke up with a very large hangover this morning, so that wasn't so great. But the people there that were genuinely asking about Dynex and the use of Dynex for themselves was very, very much well worth going up there and having those meetings. So I'm glad that I went, and I'm glad that Charles had a chance to also fly in on his way back to Canada. So it was a perfect storm and perfect timing, right? That my guy phones me and says, I need a meeting. I've got some interested parties that want to come talk Dynex. I'm okay with that. I'll come up to London and we'll have a chat. But yeah, needless to say, woke up with a really big hangover this morning.
It's a sign of a good meeting, isn't it?
Usually. But yeah, is there any other questions, Davey?
Yeah, I have two more questions, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up for today.
Yep, sounds good to me.
So another question was, given the new subscription model we'll be introducing, how will that affect the rewards miners will receive?
Ivan, do you want to go for that one?
Can you repeat his ending? Like something happened with sound here.
Yeah, so a community member is wondering how the subscription model will influence the rewards miners will receive. Will that change in a way for them? Or what are the benefits for the subscription model to the miners?
So the best part is that with subscriptions, we can really predict our emission. Yes, so miner rewards will become constant. Like we want to see any more those like block reward jumps. Like it will be a more fair distribution, like 100%. And this information will be transparent, yes. Which amount of coins we will distribute, how many coins we will distribute, like this month. So you can count your profit, like it's.
So it should make it a lot more consistent, right? Yeah. So every block should be, say we get it a couple of enterprise customers in, we get it back to 200, get a couple more in, now we're at 300, get a couple more in, now we're at 400 a block, which is effectively where Dynex started, right? Which was about 420 something. I think 428 was block number 1 or 2. But if we can replenish our emission schedule and it's consistent, then effectively we've just removed our emission schedule entirely, because we're no longer going to be going ever decreasing. It's going to be a nice smooth line, and that for miners will make it infinitely more accessible to be able to work out how much they should be actually being paid. I think that's got to be the toppest priority for us when it comes to that side, right? So the subscription model is more twofold, right? The enterprise clients on one side, and obviously that's being took care of, and then there's obviously the miners aspect from the perspective of them being paid for their hardware. We want to make sure that the miners are consistently getting a good yield for what they're providing, because the more yield that somebody is earning, the more that entices other people to come, which in turn increases our computational load. So it really does benefit for us to be able to try and get as much into the marketplace as possible. That's fundamentally what it's about.
Perfect. I hope that answers this question. So yeah, then the last question is regarding OneKey. I don't know if you touched up on this during your segment already. Is about a potential ETA you could share in that regard? Because I know you've been working hard on OneKey, but like, is there a rough timeline?
Yeah, OneKey actually said to us by the end of the month, and that's what I'm holding them to. They're not getting much in the way of leeway from me. They told me it would be a certain day, and then they were like, okay, now we've got that done. Now we're testing it, and they've finished their testing phase, and they're by all accounts still on track for the end of the month. I'm looking forward to that because I want to order one. You know, I want to actually order a OneKey so that I can actually test how well it works. But I can't if it currently doesn't support the technology right now. So I want to make sure that we do our due diligence, right? We want to make sure that one of us buys a OneKey once that firmware is available, right? Because it's one thing looking at it from a simulation perspective or a sandbox. It's another thing actually seeing it on a piece of hardware that we can validate, we can check, we can make sure. And then if there is any problems, we've already got a device that we can obviously test with, verify, fix accordingly. So I think that's probably, you know, the best way to look at that. And obviously I want to audit it. So that's also one reason why I'm ordering one. So we want to make sure that we're looking at all angles, whether it be security aspect of it or the stability access of it, or the fact that what might be in a sandbox might not work in the real world, right? So validation is where we're at with OneKey, and I'll be the first to be buying one to make sure we can validate it.
Perfect. So final thing I'd like to touch upon is the recently added community requests channel in our Discord server, which we are obviously reading and discussing internally what's possible in that regard. So I would like to encourage every community member, if you have suggestions which you'd like us to implement, feel free to drop your suggestion in that channel. And as I said, we are discussing those internally and we'll be implementing them accordingly.
Yep.
So I guess that is all for today, guys. This was the first episode of Dynex Tech Talk. I would like to thank Clifford, Ivan, and our chat moderators for their time and efforts. And of course, everyone who has been watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please feel free to share your feedback with us in our Discord and or community, Discord and or Telegram communities. And we hope to see you here for the next episode of Dynex Tech Talk. We will announce the time and date in due time.